So I thought I'd do a quick video and show you a kind of breakdown of the layers of how I put together my first double page spread of my Snowqueen project. And yes, I thought I'd just quickly show you. So these are elements I drew or painted in my sketchbook. For instance, this here or these. And I scanned them in and then I put them all together into this file here in Procreate. Yes, and I'm just going to show you how I arranged the layers and also which kind of blending modes I used. And yes, just take you kind of behind the scenes of this double page spread. So see you there. Okay, so what you're seeing right here is me trying to mind the margins. So I set up this little group here, and here I have the gutter line, that's the middle here, it's this orange line. So I always know where the middle is. And then I have this pink box here, and this would be the page side without the, I think it's called bleed, I'm not quite sure. So this will actually be cut off later on, this very small part outside of the pink box. And I also established this yellow box here as my safe zone. So I make sure that, for instance, the text, let me just show you I'll just disable that here. So for instance, I make sure that this text is not outside of the safe zone. So if something goes wrong and the book will be cut wrongly somehow, then the text will still be inside the safe zone, as well as Kai and the Snowqueen and the reindeer. Okay, so I can just disenable that here. So this is just the text, which I've got with this little white box, so it's readable a bit better. I set that here to 79%. And yes, then I've got these grasses. So these are obviously in the front, so I had to put them quite on top of the other elements. And I set these layers to multiply. I think there's not a huge difference if they were like in a normal mode. Let me just see. Yes, they're just a little bit darker here. Okay, I could just make this a group and call it grasses. Yes, then also I have some watercolor flowers, so this would be the ones here. And all of these layers are just on the normal mode. And I have this snow ground. So this white ground here is actually set up of different layers. So if I disenable that, you can just see here, it gets a bit darker here. And this is only a 54% opacity. Now I have these trees here on the left and right, and these are actually black trees, so we'll just put them to normal. You can see that right now, but I put them to add and then they become white, and also they're kind of a bit of see-through there. And here I've got some snowfall. I've just used the snowfall brush in Procreate. Not quite sure, is it here? Elements, yes, this driven snow, I think this works really nicely. And I've also got some birds here. So I think these are these two birds. I had to put that one here down somewhere here because it's behind the tree. And the swirls are these kind of swirly things here. Which I also put in front of Kai and the Snowqueen. So I actually got two versions of Kai and the Snowqueen because I've got two Snowqueens right now and I can't really decide which one I want to use. So this is version number 1 and this would be version number 2. Mind you, this Snowqueen is not really done yet. It's just kind of a placeholder to have a look whether I prefer this one here or the other one. And I had to make Kai look up a bit more because she's standing, but I feel she doesn't really look at him. So like I said, I'm not quite sure whether I really like that here. So Kai and the Snowqueen, let me just go back to version number 1. They were actually drawn on different documents. So if I get here, let me just see. there she is. So this is a document where I've got the Snow Queen. I've got a different color here, but where I've got all the colors for her. And then when I'm done, so I think that's the original one. And then when I'm done with painting the Snow Queen, I'll just go and have, it doesn't work here right now. I'll just go and either export this as a PNG, or I'll just go to copy canvas. Where is it? Share? No. Copy canvas, and then I go to the other document and just put that in here. So I did the same with Kai and the reindeer, because my layers wouldn't have been, so I wouldn't have had enough layers to paint all of that in here. It might work now with my new iPad, but with the old one, I definitely had to paint them on different documents. Okay, so let's see. So here's the reindeer, and then I have a little layer here for the shadow on the floor. I'm not that happy with it right now, but I think it looks better than without. This is set to multiply, and it's just some kind of dark greenish gray brush strokes. And like I said, I have different layers for the snow. So this is another one, and also another one here. And I feel like having all these different layers for the floor also is a very nice build-up. So I definitely prefer that to just having one singular layer. And here I've got some watercolor marks. So this would be these here. And these also are, if I'll just have them on normal, these are probably the ones. These are just dark marks, which I set to add. And sorry. So let's get that back. And then they look like this. And yes, then I've got another tree here. That's the tree on the right. So it's this one here. And this one, I got all these elements, also the rock here, which is here in the middle. Just quickly show you how that looks. And it's just set to 71%. So sometimes I don't play with the blending mode, but with the opacity there. And yes, all of these are in different documents. So for instance here, and I've got them all. I've got the background removed and then got them all on separate layers. And so I can just import some of them when I want to have them. I've got another document here. Maybe, yes, here are the trees and all the other stuff I used for the illustration so far. Okay, so let's see. Yes, then I've got 3 layers of trees, and I've got the dark trees here. These are actually all the same kind of trees, which I think it's actually just 2 trees, which I've duplicated and turned around and what's the word? I mirrored them. And so I've got the trees here, which I call trees far. So these are these dark shadows. I used the trees, which I used, let me show you, I used these trees. And what I did with them was to go to use saturation brightness and just put down the brightness. And then they got completely black. And then I just get back here. And then I reduced the opacity. So I've got these very grayish trees in the back. And these are the trees I've got in the middle. Here's the bird I was talking about. So he is behind this tree here. And these are the trees in the front. And then here you can see the tree there. Let me just put on everything. Yes, and this is how this all comes together. The background is just one simple layer, and for this I painted, I used some kind of colored paper, I think it was gray, and I painted this with oil pastel, mainly gray, white, and just a little bit of pink there. And I feel it gives a very nice gray, cool tone to the whole illustration. So for my first ever complete book double page spread. I'm quite happy with it. What happens is that the longer I look at it, the more flaws I find in it. So I'm always saying like I'm 85% finished. I might add more elements to it over time. But right now I'm getting to the next double page spread, and then maybe I will come back to that later on. So I hope you got a little bit out of that. And yes, make sure to follow me for more illustration related videos. See you. Bye.